Hey everyone, my name is Sadie and I'm the Education Liaison for the New York Marine Rescue Center. Thank you so much for tuning into our very first episode of Seize the Day, where we dive right into some of my favorite topics and demonstrations. But don't you worry, this is no dry science. Welcome to the New York Marine Rescue Center. We are a 501c3 nonprofit organization located on the east end of Long Island. Today, our topic is current events. No, not the latest TikTok dance or what's going on in The Bachelorette, but currents in our oceans. What are they? How do they form? What do they look like? And who do they impact? And what do they have to do with sea turtle populations in our New York waters? A current is a constant movement of water that is created by several forces, such as wind, tide, density, and differences in salinity and temperature. It is important to note that while currents do in fact change in strength and in temperature due to wind patterns and glacial melting, they are often predictable in directional movement and they move both vertically and horizontally. Currents are found all throughout the sea, from coastal waters to open ocean, and they are incredibly essential. They influence different weather patterns, and they create passageways for different species to move through. They also influence the Earth's climate, as they intertwine colder water with warmer water from different regions throughout the world. Let's take a look. This demonstration is to show you just how temperature and density influence the development of ocean currents. Now, typically on the surface of the water, the wind would be the main influencer for those currents to form. But in the ocean and throughout, it's when the colder water on the surface is integrating with the warmer water beneath, causing those vertical currents. So with this demonstration, we'll be able to see that right before our very eyes. If you'd like to participate at home, you're going to need a couple of things. First, you'll need this clear dish. Doesn't matter the size or the depth as long as you can see it happening. You will need a pot of extremely hot water. Be very careful taking that off the stove and bringing it to your workspace. You'll also need a dish or a pot of very, very cold water. So this one was just chilled, came right out of the fridge. You'll need a spoon to mix, and most importantly, you will need your food coloring. Now I chose blue to represent the cold water and the red to represent the hot water. So what I'll do first is I'll take my blue food coloring and I'll put just a few drops into the cold water. I think that should be plenty. I'll go ahead and mix it out, making that nice blue coloration. Looks pretty cool to me. And then over here, I will take my red food dye, and I'll put just about the same into this pot here. If you want to come on closer, take a look as to what your color should look like. All right, so we got a nice blue and a nice red. Now first, I will put the I'll put the blue water into the glass dish. Now you only really need to fill it up about halfway. Make sure it's not too dark or else you might not be able to see it. And then for the main attraction, come on a little closer. I'm going to take my hot red water and I'm going to pour it into this glass dish right into the corner. Now as I do it, you should see the currents start to form throughout the water as the hot water mixes in with the colder water at the surface. All right, so you can see all of these little canals forming. This is where the currents would be also forming. And I'll do it over on this side too, so you can get that second angle. So as the warmer water is meeting the colder water, they are mixing down below, causing those vertical currents once again. So we can see those little streamlines, which is inevitably the passageways for species to travel through or other items to be passed through the water. And in our case, the ocean currents are forming. So thanks for watching and enjoy the rest of the video. Now that we've demonstrated just how density and temperature influence the development of ocean currents, let's talk about what they have to do with sea turtles. Many different species of both plants and animals are greatly impacted by ocean currents. Some marine species are physically moved and transferred from one area to another, almost like taking an Uber or a taxi. Populations of even the strongest swimmers, like migrating whales, flow through and travel with certain currents, while other marine species, like corals or mussels, use ocean currents to distribute and plant their drifting larvae to grow and develop in other areas. And even terrestrial animals, like lizards for example, have been spotted hitching a ride on tops of these currents, using drifting coconuts or floating tree trunks or whatever they can find, and inhabiting new areas, and have been known to influence the ecological diversity on different islands. True voyagers, if you ask me. Back in 2003, a very scientific documentary was released. It's called Finding Nemo. Ever heard of it? Now, one of my favorite scenes from that movie is when Crush, the green sea turtle, and all his family and friends are being carried by the East Australian Current, the EAC. Grab shell, dude. Am I right? Now, while I can't vouch that being carried by a strong current is comparable to a thrill ride, what I can say is that turtles do in fact spend most of their life within an ocean current. One of the most well-known currents in our oceans, and the main reason why sea turtles are found from Texas all the way up to Massachusetts, is the Gulf Stream. It is the largest, fastest moving, and the warmest current across the Atlantic Ocean. This current starts off in the Gulf of Mexico, proceeds all the way up to the very tip of Florida, and follows the eastern coastlines of the United States and even up to Iceland, until crossing over the Atlantic Ocean to the west coast of Europe and meeting the North Atlantic Current. It moves at a speed of about 5.6 miles per hour on average and transfers about 2 meters of water per second. Scientists believe that sea turtles involuntarily drifted to our northern areas through the Gulf Stream as small juveniles and were able to find favorable and promising food sources here on Long Island. Surprisingly, they don't come to New York for the pizza. Instead, they are foraging for algae, seagrass, horseshoe crabs, spider crabs, clams, mussels, shrimps, sea urchins, and jellyfish, all very rich in nutrients and important for their growth and development. They typically visit our waters in the early summer months, and then travel back down the coast to warmer waters for the fall and winter, swimming thousands of miles a year. And even though they are only found in our New York waters for a few months at a time, we can still do our part every day by limiting some of their threats, such as marine debris, and following boating laws throughout our waterways to prevent boat strikes and collisions. So now that we are all caught up on current events, I'd like to thank you again for joining us. We look forward to bringing more science right into your home as we explore further depths of our oceans and waterways and how to better take care of them. Don't forget to like and share. Oh, and one more thing. As we are entering into the colder months of the year, please be on the lookout for cold-stunned sea turtles stranded on our beaches here in New York and know what to do when you see one. Call our 24-hour hotline immediately. Please contact us with information including location, photos, and as many details as possible. It is important to remember that all of these animals are federally protected under the Endangered Species Act, and you must maintain a distance of at least 50 meters or 150 feet away at all times. For more information on how to help and get involved, please visit our website at www.nymarinerescue.org.